All right, so today we're diving into some smarter sourcing strategies.
Okay.
And we're really going to focus on how to create those really effective requests for quotation.
RFQs.
Yeah, RFQs,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about working with factories in Vietnam.
Right.
So whether you are a complete newbie or you've been in this export game for a while,
Mm-hmm.
this deep dive is going to have something for you to really kind of like up your game.
For sure. For sure. And it's interesting because we have this great prompt
Yeah.
that actually lays out a whole series on responsible sourcing in Vietnam.
Yeah, a whole podcast
Right.
series.
Yes. Yeah.
And then this other article, how to create an effective request for quotation, RFQ, for smarter sourcing.
And they both really highlight how important it is to have a really well-crafted RFQ.
Yeah.
It's like your secret weapon
Right.
when you're sourcing globally, because it makes sure that suppliers really understand what it is you need so they can give you accurate quotes and ultimately deliver high-quality products.
So it's not just like shooting off a quick email being
Right.
like,
Yeah.
hey, what's your price for this?
No, no, no. It's much more strategic than that.
Okay.
It's really about communication. Think about it like this.
Okay.
If you walked into a coffee shop and just said, "Coffee, please,"
Yeah.
you'd probably just get a blank stare.
Uh-huh.
You need to be specific, right? What type of coffee do you want? Do you want milk, sugar?
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to that.
It's the same with your RFQs. You really need to lay everything out clearly.
Okay.
And it all starts with those product specifications.
Okay, so like dimensions, materials, certifications, packaging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every little detail matters.
Okay. Now, I've heard some people say that it's better to be a little bit vague on the specs in the beginning, just to kind of see what suppliers will come back with.
I think that's a bit of a risky strategy because the more precise you are up front, the more accurate those quotes are going to be. It's like building a house. You wouldn't start without a detailed blueprint.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's say we're sourcing something like consumer electronics from a factory in Vietnam. What are some of the specifics that we would absolutely need to include in the RFQ?
You'd want to be really clear about the technical specs.
Okay.
Like voltage and wattage and any specific software or compatibility requirements.
Got it.
And even packaging standards.
Packaging too.
Yeah. The more details you provide, the less room there is for error later on.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Oh.
Now let's talk about budget for a second.
Okay.
Is it better to be upfront about how much we're willing to spend or kind of keep that close to the vest?
I'm a big believer in transparency when it comes to budget.
Okay.
I think by at least sharing a price range, you can help suppliers tailor their quotes to what you actually need and avoid wasting time on options that just aren't going to work.
I see your point.
Yeah.
I've always kind of been hesitant to do that because I felt like it might limit my negotiating power. But I see what you're saying. It's more about making sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. It's about efficiency from the very beginning.
And setting the table for a good negotiation rather than playing a guessing game.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about specs, we've talked about budget.
Right.
But let's face it, one of the biggest things people worry about when sourcing overseas is quality.
Of course.
So how can our RFQ kind of set that bar high and make sure our Vietnamese partners are meeting our expectations?
Well, that's where those quality standards come in.
Okay.
Your RFQ needs to clearly spell out exactly what you expect
Oh,
in terms of certifications, testing, procedures, inspections.
So give me an example.
Like if you're sourcing textiles, for instance, you might require a specific fabric testing or ISO certifications.
Oh, okay. So we're not just hoping for the best. We're really outlining those benchmarks
Exactly.
right from the start. This is great.
Yeah, it's all about setting those expectations early on, making sure everyone is speaking the same language when it comes to quality.
Now, communication is key in any business relationship.
Absolutely.
But I think especially when you're sourcing from across the globe,
Yeah.
I've heard some horror stories about delayed email responses, miscommunications.
Yeah, me too.
So how can the RFQ kind of help us avoid those pitfalls?
Well, your RFQ should really lay out clear communication guidelines.
Okay.
Think about preferred contact methods.
Got it.
How often do you expect updates? Who's going to be the main point of contact?
So it's almost like setting up the rules of the game before you start playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what to expect and how to communicate effectively.
Right. And, you have to remember, you're often dealing with different time zones.
Yeah.
different cultural norms.
Absolutely.
So setting those expectations up front is huge.
It's crucial.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we've kind of covered.
Yeah, we've covered a lot here.
A lot of like the initial groundwork.
The groundwork
of like
the foundation.
Yeah, like how to set yourself up for success.
Yeah.
Before you even
send out that RFQ.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great. So let's take a quick break and we'll come back and talk about what happens when those quotes actually start coming in.
Sounds good.
All right, so we've sent out these awesome RFQs.
Yeah.
We've tailored them specifically for our Vietnamese suppliers.
Right.
And those quotes, they're starting to come in.
Okay.
Now what? What should we be looking for?
This is where it gets exciting, right?
Yeah.
You've done all that groundwork.
Yeah.
And now you really get to see what the market has to offer.
Okay.
But remember, it's not just about finding the lowest price.
Right. We want the best value.
Exactly. A well-structured quote's really going to give you that complete picture. It's not just a number on a page.
Okay.
Think about it. Would you buy a car just based on the sticker price alone?
No way I'd want to know about the mileage, the safety features.
Of course. All the details.
Yeah.
It's the same with your sourcing quotes.
Yeah.
You really want to look for things like unit price, especially based on the quantity you're ordering, lead times for both production and shipping,
Okay.
payment terms,
Yeah.
any additional costs like duties or taxes, and don't forget about warranty and return policies.
Wow. There's a lot more to it than I realized.
Right.
It's like being a detective.
Yeah.
Piecing together all the clues to find the perfect supplier.
I love that. That's a great way to put it.
Thanks.
You're analyzing the evidence, you're comparing the different suppliers,
Right.
and ultimately making a really informed decision.
Okay. So speaking of making decisions and kind of going back and forth with suppliers, is it ever okay to push back a little bit on lead times? Like say we're under a really tight deadline?
That's a tricky one.
Yeah.
You know, while it's always worth discussing timelines,
Right.
you have to remember that quality takes time.
Yeah.
Rushing a supplier can really compromise the quality of your product, which could lead to even bigger problems down the road.
For sure. So it's really about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Between, urgency
Yeah.
and what's actually realistic.
Exactly. I think it's like that saying, haste makes waste.
Yeah.
It's better to be upfront about your deadlines from the beginning.
Right.
And then work collaboratively with your suppliers rather than demanding the impossible.
I love how both these sources really emphasize that responsible sourcing aspect.
Absolutely.
Especially in a dynamic market like Vietnam.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting the best deal.
No.
It's about doing business ethically.
Right.
And building those long-term relationships.
It's about partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the power of a really well-crafted RFQ comes in.
For sure.
Because it shows those potential suppliers that you're serious about responsible sourcing.
Absolutely.
You value transparency.
Yeah.
You value clear communication.
It sets the tone for the entire relationship.
Yeah.
Right from that first interaction.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
For you, what's like the most valuable takeaway for our listeners?
I think for me, it's that importance of being really thorough and specific in your RFQs.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for all the details you need.
Right.
Even if it seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Remember, clarity up front saves you headaches later on.
I love that. And for me, I think it's that reminder to be patient.
Yeah.
And give suppliers adequate time to respond.
Right.
We live in a fast-paced world.
We do.
But rushing the RFQ process can really backfire.
It can.
It's about respecting the supplier's time.
Yeah, their expertise.
Allowing them to really put their best foot forward.
Absolutely.
So I want to turn the tables a bit here.
Okay.
And ask you, our listener, a question.
Right.
Think about your own product or the products that you're sourcing.
Yeah.
What are some of those specific details you would need to include to get the best possible quotes from suppliers?
That's a great question to think about. Yeah, it really makes you think about what makes your product unique.
Yeah.
And how to, translate that into a clear RFQ.
And, this deep dive has really just scratched the surface.
Oh, for sure.
Of responsible and effective sourcing in Vietnam. There are so many other resources out there to help you kind of navigate this exciting market.
Absolutely. If you're looking for more, we've got a whole series of podcasts that dive even deeper into different aspects of sourcing.
Something from market research to, finding the right suppliers, quality assurance factory visits.
A whole 9 yards.
You name it, we've got it.
Yeah.
You can find all of those episodes on our website.
Yeah.
Along with a super handy supplier request for information form.
Yes.
So if you just fill that out, our team would be happy to help you
Yeah.
with your specific sourcing needs.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for something even more personalized, you can always book a free consultation
Yeah.
with one of our experts.
We're here to support you every step of the way.
Every step.
So whether you're just starting out on your sourcing journey or you're a seasoned pro looking to refine your strategies,
Yeah.
just remember a well-crafted RFQ
Yes.
is your passport to success in Vietnam.
It really is.
It's your chance to build those strong relationships with suppliers, source amazing products,
Absolutely.
and really make an impact in the global marketplace.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's it for our deep dive today.
Great episode.
We hope you found it insightful and empowering. Happy sourcing.
Great.